6 or something?
No, that might be the same guy, because this guy's real. Yeah, I think it's Andy. Yeah.
All right. Well, good morning.
Firestone.
I'm Lisa Brown, Executive Director of the Lorain County Community College Foundation. On behalf of today, we're welcoming you virtually, and we thank Bendix sponsorship of the small exhibition. I'm thrilled to share with you that today we have topped $100,000 in sponsorships and contributions. And again, this event is sold out. Thank you all so very much. And I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you all so much. This year is a milestone for our event. It celebrates 30 years of our community coming together, supporting higher education through this event. Through your generosity, we have provided and established an endowment that has provided nearly $950,000 in scholarship support. That has benefited over 1,220 students. Visualizing this number of students, we could fill LCCC's Stocker Center's Hope Theater and still need space to hold the sheer number of students who have benefited from your scholarship support. You're truly making a difference, and your generosity will continue on through the lives of the students you have and will continue to impact by supporting this event. On their behalf, thank you. Now, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Don Connector, who, along with Todd Semmer and Kent Hageman, serve as co-chairs of this event. I'm grateful to each of them and our entire golf committee for their leadership and support. Please join me in welcoming Don.
Thank you, Lisa. I would also like to thank and add my welcome to all our participants and sponsors to this 30th annual Jack Nicklaus Scholarship Golf Benefit. The COVID-19 pandemic has certainly made this year's benefit a very unique event. It is my honor to kick off the benefit by introducing the distinguished participants in our virtual exhibition. First, I would like to introduce the MC of our exhibition. He is perhaps the best known local PGA professional through his numerous TV and radio programs, including Pin Shot, Swing Clinic, 18 Holes, and this is his 5th year of being part of this great scholarship event, Mr. Jimmy Hanlon. Thank you. Our featured guest pro this year is a native Ohioan and Golden Flash from Kent State University.
Flashes are in the house.
He won 2 Ohio amateur titles before turning pro in 2000, and then won 4 times on the PGA Tour, including the 2003 Open Championship in Great Britain. He brought the trophy with him this morning for all our participants and sponsors to have an opportunity to gander at. He was a previous guest at this event in 2005, so he is aging. But it's with great pleasure that I introduce Mr. Ben Curtis.
Thank you, Don.
Take it away, gentlemen.
You got it. You got it. First of all, I think on behalf of Ben and I, we'd definitely like to thank the foundation. I've been a part of this for 5 years. Obviously, Ben coming back 15 years later. But I tell everybody every year, part of my job and my livelihood is I'm a part of a lot of events, charity events, to raise money. And this event, I became a part of the group about 5 years ago, and kind of more and more as the years gone on, I've never seen a group of people as dedicated to a foundation to make sure that it's successful, that sees the big picture like the group is seeing here. And that's why you usually see a lot of the same faces. So there's so many names to thank and everything, but obviously with Lisa and Don and all the group that we've been here, on behalf of Ben and I, thanks for having us. We truly appreciate it. So we're going to start out talking a little bit to Ben Curtis here. Ben, again, I think, as Don was saying, won the British Open in 2003, and I think it's kind of funny coming off of where a young man won his first major championship that he ever played in, and that was your first major championship, was it not, the British Open? So to see a guy like Colin Morikawa finish and be able to win an event like he did, Ben, I think it's kind of cool just to listen to you talk about those last 3 or 4 holes, because I'm sure that Colin was going through the same thing in his mind of, how am I going to get this thing done? I got a 2-shot lead, I got a shot lead, and coming down the stretch. What did you feel like? I'm sure it's the same thing he did.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. I was obviously very nervous at the time. I was watching it last night, just watching the finish, and what was really odd to me was watching a major championship with no fans there. Right. And I said it had to feel weird even for him. Like, he probably wanted to go jump in the lake behind him after he tapped in for his par on 18, but with the surrealness of it, only being a couple hundred people around. So it had to have been very different. Probably not the way he imagined winning a major championship in front of 200 people instead of 20,000 people. So, but obviously it was a great win for him. He played tremendous down the stretch. And we were talking about earlier, like that shot he hit on 16. We even mentioned he said he wasn't going to do that all week, but it's amazing. His game plan now changed, but he understood where his game was and how he's playing, how he's swinging. He was very confident, but he trusted his work ethic and all that, trusted his swing and went about it. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. But yeah, it was a tremendous win for him, and obviously he won a few weeks ago down here in Columbia. So, he's obviously been playing pretty well since they came back.
So talk to me a little bit. I don't know if most of you know, Ben actually finished second in a PGA Championship a little later in your career. So again, same type of situation. You were somewhat near the lead coming down the stretch. Padraig Harrington, was there in front of you, who was playing phenomenal golf and already won a major that year. Did you change your mindset after winning? Because I think they talked about that. They talked to Dustin Johnson about, hey, listen, you've won one. Did your mindset change after you win your first one? I mean, was your mindset a little different because you'd already won one, or did you feel kind of the same way?
Well, yeah, I put a lot more pressure on myself, right? Yeah, I won my first major I ever played in, so it's like, hey, I could do this every time, right? But it doesn't work out that way, and I understood that. It took a couple years, but like Jimmy said, when I played at Oakland Hills 2008, I had the lead. We actually played 36 holes on Sunday, and I had the lead midway through the third round, and then they repaired. And so I had sitting in the clubhouse for about 4 or 5 hours, not that long, a couple hours before we teed off again. So it was a very unique situation there, but actually was tied with the lead on 16, but Padraig made great birdie on 16 and 17 to kind of get us by 1 or 2 shots. But, when you get in those situations, a lot of it, once you get in the flow of it, you ease into it a lot better. And they talked about that on the telecast too, like how, when you're into it, you don't really, hey, this putt is the win. You don't think about that. You're thinking about trying to accomplish that shot. So the more you can do that, the better off you can be. So I remember when I won, I always kind of went back to what I did as a junior, what I did as an amateur, even going back on previous events and understanding that, hey, your adrenaline is rushing and you got to control your breathing, you got to control your walk. When you see guys like running up down the fairway or they're walking real slow, then they're kind of thinking too much about the golf, what's going on, instead of, if you can control all that other stuff, you have a better chance. So.
You think it was actually easier for Morikawa with no fans? Because, obviously if there were fans out there, he's one of the least known. They're probably rooting for everybody else. They're rooting for DJ, they're rooting for Brooks, they're rooting for all these other. I think it was probably easier for him because there were no people out there screaming.
Yes and no. I think I could see it 2 ways. Yes, I do see it in that way. You don't hear the crowd, for Dustin and even Brooks and some of those guys, and Paul Casey's been around a long time, probably wanting to have him win for the first time. But it's also had to be really strange playing with no fans.
Yeah, right.
In front. So I think that, I think players are making those adjustments as they're going along. this year. So I could see both sides. For sure.
So I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but Ben, now that his playing career has come to an end, has become somebody that's teaching young players and is taking on individual players and trying to make them better. And before we jump into this, a lot of it's not the golf swing, right? You're teaching them how. And again, we get into, and you guys will see this in every sport, and I'm sure many parents see this also, but it's so technical, right? Everybody's looking at TrackMan numbers and how do you get your speed up and where you're supposed to be here in their golf game. And from what you and I have talked about, your whole goal is to teach these kids how to get the ball in the hole, right? Because that's the whole end of it, right? It doesn't matter. You can have the perfect golf swing and make double bogey. You can have a terrible golf swing and make birdie. You're trying to teach them not just about how to swing the golf club, but how to get it in the hole. Huh?
Yes, exactly. So I'm dealing with a lot of kids. They're 12 to 18 years old, and their swings, they don't realize, but their swing's going to change dramatically between their 12 and 18, and even 18 to their mid-20s, just because of growth and maturity and experience, right? So I try to teach these kids it's more about your preparation to going into tournaments, how to practice, what you should be practicing, and how you spend majority of your time, not doing this, hitting full shots, but hitting wedge game, chip, putt, all that stuff, and kind of get them prepared for their upcoming event, right? Because that's, a lot of kids, that's what, I know we got a lot of high school kids listening in on this, and that's what it's about. It's about preparing and being mentally sharp heading into it. You go to a major, we're going back to it, and I'd be kind of laughing at all the players because they'd be spending 8 to 12 hours a day out on the golf course hitting every shot imaginable. But I'd go out and I wouldn't change my routine. I would keep it the same. So I treated it just like any other event. And I understood that those people that were doing that, they didn't have much chance to win. And I think looking at all the tour, if you watch the top players in the world, they stick to the routine, they have a plan, and they think about it 24/7, right? But they're not overdoing the work on the golf course. So, so I'm working with the kids, just trying to be mentally prepared, trying to eat right, trying to be healthy, try to practice right, and hopefully come in better results.
So Ben was a little bit ahead of his time. I don't know if he knows it or not, but Ben is, since I've known him all the years, Ben's just here. Things go good, Ben's here. Things go bad, Ben just keeps it here. And you look at a lot of the tour players now, and that's where they try to get to. Brooks, DJ, a lot of these guys are the best players in the world. They're not getting high and they're not getting low. And even like a guy like Ricky Fowler that has a big personality and everybody likes him, I think he struggles with that a little bit, because he likes to get up a little bit.
He's still young.
Yeah, he is young, right?
He's only 30.
Yeah, right. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
But that's kind of like you've kind of done that your whole career, right? Things can go really good. You can't get too high. Things can go really bad. You got to stay on that same level. Huh?
And I bring it back to when I grew up. My grandfather built a golf course, and he was a state high school baseball champion coach. And we actually saw his jersey from my mom had it framed and had the jersey from 1947 when he won the state high school baseball championship. But he always told me as a kid, he goes, I don't want people to know if you're shooting 80 or 60. I want them to I want you to be walking down the fairway or interacting with the other players just like you would any other time. So, I owe a lot to him in that regard because he preached on that daily. And he would see me out there practicing or playing, and he'd come to tournaments and he said, hey, I don't like what you were doing out there, or I really liked how you handled yourself. So he really kept me even throughout the course.
Perfect. All right, let's get to a little practice stuff. So if you're starting a practice session with your young kids and you're talking about it, start out with the lower club, a wedge. I mean, I know a lot of, you go to the driving range here, if we were hitting balls before the event, about half of them be pulling out drivers to start it out and just zinging them out there. But you're starting out with sand wedge or some kind of wedge. Right?
Yeah, I mean, normally I start off with a lob wedge, but for today I brought a 48 degree just to warm up. But, we practice a lot of, even tour guys, before we got to play, we're just trying to get our rhythm, try to be loose, right? We're not trying to change our swing before we head out, because if we don't have it now, we're not going to have it then. So we don't need to be searching. We just need to be searching for good rhythm and make sure that our mindset is good before we head out. So we want our body loose so we don't get on the first tee and feel like we have to swing too hard and things like that. We want to make sure that we hit plenty of balls. I didn't hit a lot of balls, but I'd be on the range for 15, 20 minutes, but 99% of the shots would be with like 8-iron or below. I did all kinds of wedges, all kinds of 9-irons and stuff like that. I did maybe 2 or 3 7-irons, a couple drivers, and all 5 wins. So I just use it but everybody's different, but I use it as a warm-up. I wanted to get good rhythm going. So as I hit, I'll just hit a few wedges here to warm up.
Yep.
But, you know, kind of looking at just having good ball position, good setup, good alignment. So you see a lot of guys, they put the club down for alignment. They also got the stick, you know, Poulter does it a lot where he's got it where to show his ball position to make sure that's correct. So just make sure, that's what I work with a lot of kids, is get set up and ready to go and just make a big turn. So
And consistent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to stay the same every single time. I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the big key.
So I'm just going to hit a few.
And I think ball position is a little different for different people, right? I mean, Arnie and Jack, two of the greatest ever, would completely argue with each other that ball position was different. You know, Jack's moved a little more, Arnie's didn't move as much. So,
I mean, the general rule would be 7-iron down to your wedges, just middle of your stance. And then as you move up, 6-iron, 5-iron, 4-iron up into your woods, and just kind of creep it up half a ball or so with each club. You know, that's the general rule, but like you said, everybody's different. Some people get their hands way out front.
Sure, yeah.
Some get them more even with their middle section, so the ball position is going to need to change because of that. So.
And a lot of it's going to depend on, you know, how much motion you got going back and forth. You know, some people move off the ball a little more.
Exactly.
Not many anymore, though, huh?
No.
Basically,
You think about the guys today, they just try to turn in a barrel.
Yeah.
It's like they're standing in a barrel. Back in the old days, you really tried to get behind it and then really
Jimmy
push
Ballard.
down in. So
Yeah, that's exactly
it's
right.
totally different.
Caddying for Natalie this week, you know, watching a lot of these girls hit balls on the range and play, and man, they just stay so dead over top of the golf ball when they turn. Very little of them have a move going this way at all. They're really right over top of the golf ball.
Exactly. Now, if I want to hit something a little lower, I'll move it back. If I want to hit a little higher, I'll move it up in my stance. And, you know, I can change my attack angle and things like that. I wouldn't necessarily say that for the average player, but, you know, as a tour guy and somebody with gym talent, we could do that, right? We could do that. But just a simple way, just if I want to hit a little lower, just going to move it back in my stance and swing a little smoother. Not going to try to overhit it, right? You see a lot of people, they try to hit it low. They really try to hit it hard. Well, I just have more spin and actually goes up in the air.
I think that's a good point, too. Like, so if you're into the wind and you want to hit one a little lower, like Ben just did, you know, more speed makes the ball go higher. So you actually want to hit it easier, not harder. And if you watch him hit those lower shots, his tempo actually got a little slower. So think about that into the wind is, you know, they say the whole, when it's breezy, swing easy, but it's really important. The harder you hit a shot into the wind, the more difficult you're going to make it because you're going to shoot the golf ball up in the air. And that doesn't matter whether you're a 25 handicap or a scratch player or a tour player, it's the same thing.
And the same opposite, right? You want to hit high.
Yep.
You know, you see guys really try to hit it hard, right? They're just trying to create more speed.
They're trying to create more spin.
But obviously they move it up in their stance, so I can just do that real quick and didn't hit it real good, but
spin doesn't help high, right?
no.
There we go. There you go. And I think a big key to watching Ben, I mean, he just got out of the car and he's hitting wedges right now, right? He's taking 10 golf swings. But you didn't see one golf swing right there where his balance was bad. You know, his balance was good right out of the gate. I mean, that was, even just loosening up, his balance is good. And I think that's really key to young players, too, is to understand that it's better to take a good balanced golf swing than it is to hit one hard that goes 330, but you're falling off balance, because that 330 isn't going to happen over and over again with bad balance.
Well, and I tell the kids, right, I got some good high school players, and I say, hey, you can swing as hard as you want, but you got to finish in balance.
Yeah.
If you don't finish in balance, then you're not swinging within your body, right? You're doing something that your body can't sustain or control.
Yep. Ben and I talked about it a little bit ago, and it's like, those guys swing. I mean, how about Bryson, right? I mean, he swings hard, right? But if you watch, he isn't falling backwards when he's hitting the golf ball. His balance is really good, and I think that's the biggest key, whether it's Bryson or Dustin Johnson or Brooks, is that I would never tell. I like players to hit it hard. I think especially under you know, when you're nervous on the first tee today, if you haven't played with these guys, or if you're out there and you're in a different situation, I like people to be able to hit the golf ball hard. I have no problem with it. I actually prefer it, but it has to be in balance like that. It can't be hitting it hard from back here. It has to be, if you swing as hard as you can, to be able to get over on your front side.
I remember when I was struggling a little bit, you know, back in 2005 or 6, and a lot of even Herb Page was a big, great example. Just don't try to steer, hit it.
Yeah, hit it, right? Yeah.
Hit it hard, right? You're struggling a little bit. Just become more of an athlete again and just hit it.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too much, and when you start swinging bad and you're missing all of them, that's where a lot of amateurs struggle because they're trying to hit it perfect and
Yeah.
they just got to let it go.
And it's
Even
all
if you hit a
sports.
20-yard cut, who cares, right? Like if I show up on the range and I'm hitting a 20-yard cut, that's what I'm playing today. I ain't going to go out there and try to hit a big draw, right? I'm going to play it. And that's it. You just got to score the ball. There's no pictures on the scorecard.
Yeah.
There's none of that. So you just got to go out there and play with what you have and work on it when you're on the range. And when you're practicing, that's when you work on your technique as much as you can.
My best, you guys want to see Ben hit a bad shot right here. Talk about when he won the 84 Lumber, and back then he had to deal with the NFL, and was it Reebok?
Yeah, Reebok. Yes.
So on Sunday he had to wear the clothes of the home NFL team, which the 84 Lumber was in Pittsburgh, and Ben had to wear Steeler colors to win a PGA Tour event. So I thought I'd see him shank that when I brought it up.
Yeah. Well, I tell people, they go, "What's it feel like to win in the Steelers?" I say, "I'll wear whatever I want when I win. Right? I'll wear. You can give me whatever you want." But
that had to kill you, though.
yeah, well, it did. Well, so a lot of people don't know, but the year before, I had the league on into Saturday at the 84 Lumber, and I show up on the first tee, and I had all Browns gear on. Let's just say I'll never do that again in Pittsburgh. I shot 81 and then, played well on Sunday, but the next year I didn't wear Browns. I wore all Steelers, and I went, and I was giving my, speech afterwards, and everybody's doing the terrible towel. They had the towels on, And I said, "Hey, guys, I hate to bust your bubble here, but if anybody wants this shirt, you're going to find it along the turnpike on my way back into Ohio." So then they started booing me, and I left. They didn't like me after that. So that's all right. I had to get that in there. So.
Did you get to pick whatever team you wanted to wear besides Sunday, or no?
No. I mean, a couple events, depending on where they were. Like, and I won Booz Allen. I kind of went back and forth between Baltimore and the Redskins.
Yeah. That's about just.
For the most part, it was pretty self-explanatory. You're in Pittsburgh, you're wearing Pittsburgh, right? You're in Columbus, you're wearing the Browns or Bengals.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So they gave me pretty much free reign there. But anyway, so again, we're just working on our rhythm and technique, right? As our alignment, that's the big things, ball position, setup, that kind of thing. Now, if I want to hit a little draw, pretty simple, right? It's not. It's harder for me. I'm better with the fade, as you can tell. But, with a little bit of a draw, just the easiest thing would be move it back a little bit in your stance and try to swing a little more rounded and try to rotate the wrist a little bit more. Swing more in to out, they say. If you want to hit a fade, it's kind of the opposite. Put more up in your stance, and you start to swing it more across your body. You don't obviously release it as much, but I'll try to do a draw. I'm not making any promises here, guys. But I'll put it back in my stance a little bit and try to swing more in and out and let the club just release on its own pretty naturally.
That turned over a hair.
1 yard. That's like a snap hook for me, though.
Yeah, right.
So, but everybody has that, right? Everybody has their go-to shot. Like Dustin's, it's a fade, Dustin Johnson, right? Roy McIlroy's more of a draw. So if you try to get them to work the ball the other way, it's a little more difficult for them. But they also know their strengths. So,
did you have a shot when things were going bad for you out there that you went to all the time just because you knew you could get it in the house, not do too much damage?
3/4 punch shot,
you did.
Especially with iron. If I was better. I hit it fairly straight off the tee. I had a good wedge game and good chipping and putting. My biggest weakness would probably have been high iron, 6 iron on up to the 3 iron. So when I got in those situations, I'd take a little more club and just try to hit a little knockdown. And just try to flight the ball a little bit more. That's why I did well in the British Open, I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to hit it way up in the air and as far as I can. You come here and you get 220 yards. I can hit a 3 iron. And just try to bust it. And you miss-hit it, and that's where the shots kind of go all over.
And I feel like I've asked that question to a lot of tour players, and it's pretty similar, right? Yeah. It's a 3. And then I asked amateur players, and none of them have a 3/4 shot. Like they don't want to hit it. They would rather hit it easier or harder. And so I mean, that just tells you right there. And as good players, as young players, it's one of the first shots you should develop, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you should have it. I mean, it's just one of those things that you got to figure it out. And 3/4 just means don't take it back as far, right? Get it right here to your shoulder and get your downswing going. Hit one for us, Ben.
Yeah, and for me, it was more, just having a little better rhythm. Really concentrate on keeping the lower body a little more quiet and just swing the arms.
That's a great shot to be able to hit out of like fairway bunkers too, right? Makes
Yeah.
more solid contact for the amateur player. It's just, you know, less lower body, shortens the golf swing up a little bit, and you make sure you're just hitting that golf ball first, right? Because when it went bad for Ben, that means he missed it 5 yards, 10 or 5 yards right or left. When it goes bad for the average amateur guy, it means he's hitting 2 inches behind it, or he's hitting on top of the golf ball. But it's no different, right? You can still have that shot where it's just a little shorter, a little less lower body motion, and just making sure you make contact. Yep.
And then also when we did that, we went to our go-to shot. So normally 7-iron, for example, I was playing with 165 to 170 carry. Now I just knew it was 150, 155, 160, just depending on the weather and where we were located, and just that was my control. So I just understood that, hey, it's going to be 10 or 12 yards, it's going to hit, it's going to have not as much spin, it's going to release a little bit. But that's the other thing, a lot of the tour players, there's a lot of great, played college golf, played a lot against a lot of great players. And what I think separates the good, even on the tour, the top players to the bottom half, is just the adaptability. They adapt to the conditions, the changes in the weather, to their swing, the mental approach, and all that. That's the difference. It's not talent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even getting tighter and tighter now with the kids. I mean, there's, like, this week, there could have been 100 players that could have won, right?
I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 holes left, and there were 7 guys tied for the lead. With like 7:30, I think they had 7 guys at 10 under or something.
Yeah, we were driving home. My son, that's what he kept yelling out. Hey, there's 7 guys tied for the lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
and they were
crazy.
making the turn, so it's crazy. That's how close the guys have gotten, and I think technology's helped with the TrackMan, and they all have their own coaches. They all have their own trainers, and they all eat well. I had a friend of mine a couple years ago say, hey, I saw all your buddies down in Canton having dinner. I go, was there any beer or wine in front of them? They go, no, they drank wine. That's or water. That's boring. I said, but that's why they're good,
right? That's exactly
why they're good.
I don't know if you guys noticed. See that British Open trophy just getting a little closer to my bag all the time? Seems like it's a little more at home over there by my bag. But I'll tell you though, talking about that though, and it's kind of crazy. And again, I caddying for Natalie the last couple of weeks and the week before, and Ben's been through this. But so you have these young players, you have these college players, and they're really good, like a Colin Markow. How good is he, right? The stuff that gets introduced to them once they get to the professional level, and I'll give you one example. I play golf I'm 49. I've played since I was about 6, so 43 years, right? Last year was the first time I was ever introduced to a greens book, because I played on the mini tours. I never saw a greens book before. This is a book that has so much, right? I'm sure you used it throughout your career, right? And these players use
Later
this.
on in my career.
Colleges don't use them, right? They don't have them
They're
available
starting
to them. They're probably starting about right now. But this is a book where they basically take, the shape of the green, and it's been all mapped out by some type of GPS company, and you basically put a dot where the pin is, you put a dot where the ball is, and you figure out the math, which is crazy. At the end of the day, it tells you how the putt breaks. You don't even really have to read it anymore. I mean, you have to trust it or you have to believe in it, but the information that those guys are figuring out from the time they hit that second shot to the time they're standing over that putt is incredible. And if you don't take advantage of it now, you're behind, right?
Right.
I mean, you're behind. I
I started using it later in my career.
Yeah.
And and I look at it, I'm a big field player, so a lot of times it would say like 2 or 3 on the thing, and you're looking at it like, I don't see that much, or I see way more than what's there, and that's where you come in. But there's a lot of times you see, you're like, yep, that's it.
That's it, right?
You're able to free up and make better strokes.
Especially if you believe in it. You believe. But the information that they have, it's like, they talk about Bryson being that technical. They're all way more technical than you think they are out there.
Yeah, especially in that area. They're not so much in their golf swing as much as it is about making sure that they have the right yardage, the right wind, the right elevation changes, the reading on the green. It's more of that stuff than it is. They know how far they hit a 7-iron.
Yeah, they know
how far
that.
they hit a 8-iron, within a few yards, right, on a full swing. So,
and they're all standing on the range with a $30,000 TrackMan, hitting balls too, figuring out what their spin is. And that's when they're even
think about it. They went from Memphis to San Francisco.
Yeah.
They went from 100 degrees to 50 degrees.
Yeah.
And so you sea level now. I mean, that ball it doesn't travel. So they were all out there probably getting their yardages.
Well, and weather too, right? They said Justin Thomas in Memphis, his club head speed was 121. San Francisco's 116. That's 5 yards. I mean, what's 5
5
yards or
miles
5
per
miles
hour.
an hour? What's
That's
5
probably
miles an hour? That's a
12
club,
yards,
right? Yeah. Full
12, 15, especially with the driver.
Yeah.
So, real quick, so just since we're all here for Jack Nicklaus's scholarship, right? So on the bottom ring, this is after I won. So on the bottom ring, the first name on there is Jack Nicklaus, and then mine's on the last ring.
It is.
So yeah,
That's perfect.
kind of unique for
Yeah,
the event. So
absolutely.
when you look at it, on the bottom ring, Jack Nicklaus is the first name on the ring, and then mine's the last. So
Have you ever played with Jack?
no,
You've obviously met him.
I met him obviously quite a
At the
bit.
Memorial, yeah.
So my driver here, I'll just try to hit that guy on the green there. Good balance. But anyway, the driver opposite is Jimmy would know. It's the opposite of the irons, right? This ball's on the tee. We want to kind of sweep it off the tee, hit up into it. That's why the guys hit it so far now, because you see them. Most of them are teeing it up pretty high, and they're trying to get as much upswing on it as possible. Okay, so it allows for a straighter ball play. If you hit down on it, put a lot of spin on it, ball can curve a lot more.
Yep. No spin. I mean, that's the key now, right? I mean,
Right.
they don't want, Lee Trevino and the old guys used to put Vaseline on their drivers so it wouldn't spin. Well, they were way ahead of technology now that it is these days, right? Hi, Judge. Look at that straightness right there, huh?
Yeah, when I played, that was kind of my strength. Some of the caddies called me BMW, ultimate driving machine, but later on in my career, that's why I'm not playing anymore. It kind of became the opposite. So,
A Yugo.
yeah, I
You went
was,
from a BMW to a Yugo.
yeah,
Right?
it was missing every fairway, but, obviously, I think the key factors to the golf game now, driving, wedge, and putting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do all three of those good, you're going to have a great career.
I mean, your career was based on, like you said, you drove the golf ball in the fairway, which made you good in major championships and tougher golf courses. I mean, how would you like to be out there now, right? I mean, it's opposite of when you were there, right? I mean, every player's trying to hit it farther. Even the guys that don't hit it far are trying to hit it farther, right?
Well, and I think, I think that's where Jordan Spieth struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's chasing too much, right? He hit it far enough. He could fly 290.
Yeah.
But he was trying to get that 310, 315, and I think it totally changed his.
Well, and he plays all his golf with Justin Thomas. I mean, and these guys, it's funny, some of these young guys play a lot of golf together now in their fun times. And he's out there and he's playing golf with Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler, who are probably smaller than him, right? And they bomb it, and they're hitting it 20 yards past him, and he's probably sitting there going, I can't win doing this, which is a mistake, obviously, because he was winning at 21 years old, hitting at 290 right down the middle, and he's a better putter than the rest of them, or he was. Anyway.
He was. I mean, he's struggling a little bit now.
Yeah.
I think he'll get it back. So key with driver, make sure you don't get it too far back. Get it up, off your heel. You see a lot of guys now even get it out past their front foot almost. They're just trying to swing up into it, and they're trying to stay back on the right side as long as I know you don't want to tell too many golfers this.
Yeah.
You want to try to stay back on your right side as long as possible. That helps create that upswing into the ball. A lot of people get here and they kind of slide into it or move their head and they kind of lean into it. That was my fault. I always kind of leaned into it. And so you get out ahead of it and you're hitting down on it, and unless you timed it up perfect, that ball went everywhere. So the straighter it went, the more likely I was hitting up into it. So just off my left foot here and just.
BMW might be back, man.
Well,
huh? Those are right to flag.
Not at Sandridge last week, but anyway, yeah. So obviously I don't play that much anymore. I don't work out, so obviously lost a few yards. It could come back for sure.
What? Talk to us a little bit about. We were talking about some of the players, some of the guys that were the most interesting, that you played with, and some of your friends out there that. Just the different personalities, because they're all over the place right now in tour, which I don't know about you guys, I think it makes golf great. Brooks is a little arrogant. He's saying some stuff to get in these guys' heads. Bryson's just a little crazy, I think, but he's playing great golf. Some of the guys just like to ride the line. I mean, give a couple guys that they're a little bit on both sides there for you.
Well, I mean, I played a lot with Jim Furyk. One year I think I played with him in the 25 events. I think I played with him in 18 of them.
Really?
In the first 2 rounds. But he's just he's one of them steady Eddie. He's very similar to
Steeler
me.
fan, by the way.
Yeah, but he's very High State fan as well.
Yeah.
But he grew. He's just very level, very even keel. He just goes about his business. So, you know, I respect for a lot what he's done. Then you got Phil Mickelson, who's been out there forever as well. I mean, he's you know, every idea is his idea. You know, every change to the tour is his idea. But he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong, he's a good guy. You know,
Got a new
VJ.
TV career.
You know, and that's the thing too. I was out there when VJ and Tiger were going head to head, right? And to believe it or not, they actually had a pretty good relationship off the court. I mean, they got along, and you know, I think even Tiger said it. You know, the bad rap that VJ got, Tiger said he's a lot nicer than you actually think. So he was a lot of fun to play with. The first time I played with him was actually at Bay Hill, my rookie year in the 3rd round.
Tiger or VJ?
VJ.
VJ, yeah.
And we get up on the tee, and he just shows up. And he basically gets up there, he gets his drive around, and he hits it, right? Didn't even say hi to anybody, nobody else. And we finally get down on the first green. I go, hey, VJ, it's nice to meet you. I'm Ben Curtis, you know. And I was shy, too, right? And I just kind of went over. He goes, I know who you are. And that's it. But he was a lot of fun to play with. Talk about a guy who just attacked every pin, right? I mean, he didn't care. He went after every pin.
He won, what, 10 times in 1 year, I think, or something. It was
like
some crazy
04?
number, yeah.
Crazy. Like that? 10 times? Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously a great player.
How much did you play with Tiger through your career?
Not, you know, not much. I played several practice rounds together because we had the same teacher at one time with Hank Haney. I used Steve Johnson, who worked under him. So, but a lot of times when Hank would come in town into Orlando, we had a place on the other side of Orlando. So he'd say, hey, I'm in town if you want to come over. So I think I was the first person to play with him after when he came back.
Oh, you did?
Just to practice round at Isleworth. We had to drive to the second tee because he's like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm out here playing. So, I played with him there. It was back right before maybe late March. So he was playing good. And you could tell.
Good conversation there.
Yeah. He actually owes Ricky, who caddies for Koepka.
Yeah.
It was my caddy, and we went over there to practice. We didn't know we were going to play with Tiger. And so Tiger had a buddy, so we had a little match, and we actually beat him. And so Ricky says, Tiger still owes me $50, you know. But yeah, it was fun. So
that's great.
And Ricky Fowler's a great guy.
Yeah.
Roy McIlroy, he's a great guy as well. So we actually flew from Charlotte to Jacksonville with Ricky, and he ended up winning. And you know, Jeff Ogilvy and I are on the plane waiting. He gets there about 4 hours after we were supposed to take off. But we waited for him, and then we landed, and we say, okay, we're going to split it 3 ways, and Ricky's now already paid for it. So
oh, he did? Oh,
that's
good.
the type of guy he is. So he's a great guy. He's got a good head on his shoulder. He's great for the game of golf. I mean, there for a while, every time you showed up on a Sunday, look, here he is, right here. Except he just had orange shirt to match that.
Yeah, right.
He'd come up, orange pants, orange shirt, white belt, but he was a lot of fun to play. Actually, I played with him in 2012. We played in the final round as players together, him and I, and we both finished second. And he made a bomb on 17. The crowd's going crazy. And then I birdied 18 to tie him. So it was a lot of fun. But he's a good guy to play with, a great competitor. You know, I think once he wins a couple more, he'll just got to get over that hump, and I think a lot will come.
When's the last time you've been overseas? Now, do they invite you to come over every year? They want you to come over every year?
Yeah,
during the
2016 was the last one.
Yeah.
Played with Daly. That was my last round. I played with Daly. But he was a lot of fun. He's a great guy as well.
Yeah.
He liked to party back in the day, but he's a little calmer now. But yeah, it was the last time I've been over.
His kids, I don't know if you guys saw it, Daly's kid's playing really good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Looks like he's going to be a good amateur. All right, hit us a couple drivers to end it, and we'll go play some golf. All right. Let me see Ben Curtis hit one hard.
Oh,
yeah.
You got
Stretch
the
it out
stretcher?
there. Yep. Stretch it out.
All right. So I'll just widen my stance just a touch.
There it is. Look at that. It's hard and straight. It might go in. Well, thanks to everybody again. Thanks on behalf of Ben and I for having us here. We're excited to spend a day with you guys. Hope you got a little bit out of our clinic here and good stories from Ben. Look out when you get taken out there. And thanks to everybody here also. And Ben, I don't know if you have anything else to say, but again, I really appreciate you guys having me here every year. I truly enjoy it and look forward to it. And sure, same for you.
Yeah, I think we got lucky with the weather.
Yeah.
And, you know, got to be thankful for that. But thanks to all the sponsors and for all the players coming out supporting a great cause. And, helping kids get, I think, scholarships to
Yeah.
go on to school. So it's a great thing. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.